everyone. Happy Halloween. Well, actually, it's probably past midnight, so I probably can't say that, or shouldn't say that. So this is what I wore to hand out candy today. Um, it was very disappointing. I only had like 2 kids show up, so that was really sad. I bought like a big bag of candy from Costco, thinking I'd get a lot of kids. Like last year, I think I got like 25 maybe, like 5 groups of 5 kids basically. But no, just 2 this year. It's pretty disappointing. So, but anyway, so Agatha All Along. Oh goodness. So I was wrong about a whole lot of things. Like way off. So Alice, you saw Alice in the beginning, and you're like, oh yay, and then no. Because Rio's like, basically, I've come for you. Like, I've come to take you. And you're like, well, that sucks. Because I really thought, well, maybe she'd be back. But no. And Alice herself said, but I just broke the, the curse. And now I'm dead. And Rio says, well, you died. You're a protection witch. You died protecting someone, right? So I guess she has a point, but still, yeah, that did suck, and it was sad. And then Lilia, yeah, she didn't come back either, and they talked about how, she died, and then the Salem 7 died, which, again, I thought they would come back too, and the final episode would be about the whole battle between all of them, the Coven, and the Salem 7, but no, they're dead too. So, I was wrong about that. Yeah, so Rio said to Agatha, you promised me, the bodies would pile up, and they did. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, sucks, because I really thought they would come back. So, and they talked about Rio being the original Green Witch, like green with the capital G, for green meaning like the cycle of life, growth and decay, death. So, yeah. Like, sorry, I'm still like, like I said, I was so wrong. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. So, Rio, she, was talking to Agatha, and she's like, I want Billy because he broke the natural order of things. Like, he stole a second life because he, went into William's body when William died. So she said, but he has to surrender to me because if he dies, he'll just, be reincarnated somewhere else. He'll just find a new body. So she's like, he has to surrender to me willingly. And Agatha said, fine, I will do that for you if you just promise to just leave me alone, like forever. Like when I die, a very long time from now, fine, I don't want to see you, and just leave me alone. So Rio's like, okay, like I guess I agree to that. And they come back to the beginning of the road where their shoes are. And we finally learn why they took their shoes off. Because the first episode, they took their shoes off. And I'm like, why did they do that? So it was out of respect for the road. But Billy says, basically, screw this. And he puts his shoes back on. And so we end up in Agatha's basement. And, there's growth lights on. And they, keep going off one by one. So apparently they're supposed to grow something. But how do you grow something, with no soil, no water, no seeds, nothing? So, and in that basement, we find out that Agatha is actually the one that bound Jen. And she, in the 1920s, and she did it for money. And so, since Jen finds that out, she, goes after Agatha and binds her with hair and gets her powers back. And so she leaves the road. And because the road gave her back what she was missing, her objective for being on the road and reaching the end. So I'm glad that Jen got her powers back. I mean, that was one of the things I was hoping would happen. So Billy and Agatha are left all alone, and Agatha says, let's find Tommy. So they search for a body for Tommy, and Billy, finds this boy that's drowning. And he starts to get scared, though, because he's like, am I killing this boy so that Tommy can live? And so the boy drowns because, like, some kids are pulling a prank on him and trying to drown him, and so he does drown. And so when he drowns, Billy puts Tommy's, like, essence in him. And then he disappears because he has gotten what he wanted out of the road also. I mean, he didn't exactly find Tommy, but in a way he did. So he leaves. Agatha takes out what looks like a dandelion seed out of, when you, like, have a dandelion, or I call it a wish flower, where you blow it and the little white, like, seeds go everywhere. So she takes that out of the cameo necklace, and when Billy left, there's a crack that appears in the floor of the room. So she puts that seed in the crack, and before she does that, Billy is very concerned, am I killing him just so Tommy will live? And Agatha says no, sometimes boys just die. And of course, Billy doesn't hear that, but that gives us a better clue as to what happened to her son. So she plants the seed, it blooms into a dandelion it looks like that was what it was to me. And then the room starts to cave in, and she's freaking out, like, I finished the trial, I made something grow, let me out of here. So she gets out, goes back to Westview, goes back to her house. Sorry. It feels weird to have, like, a headband on. I don't know. I never wear a headband, so, like, I guess that's really kind of is more like a sweatband. Anyway, never wear this, so it feels weird. So I apologize. So yeah, she goes back to Westview. Rio's there, and Rio is basically saying, you broke our deal. The boy was supposed to give himself up, surrender himself willingly, and yet he's gone. He's not here. So basically, I'm going to take you instead. And Rio's kind of acting crazy, and she's, like, why don't you want me? Yelling at Agatha. And Agatha remembers something that Lilia told her, when she calls you a coward, duck, hit the deck. And so Rio says that. Agatha throws herself down on the ground and just misses being, like, clobbered by a kitchen sink. So, and then, Rio is really, like, Agatha doesn't have any powers, so really she doesn't stand a chance against Rio. So Wiccan comes and saves her, like, full costume and everything. It's an awesome moment. And he actually gives Agatha his powers, some of them. And, there's this moment where you think, oh, crap, she's going to take all of his powers. You see it, you just think, oh my gosh, she's going to. And at the last moment, it seems like she doesn't. So now she and Wiccan both have powers, Billy. And they're fighting Rio, but really Agatha's like, it's no use. There's no point. We can't beat her. And Rio says, I just want one of you. And Wiccan says, take me. And Agatha, which I don't know why he's so surprised, says, yeah, take him. And he is surprised, though, and he's like, wow, ouch, that's hurtful, after I just saved you and gave you, power. And then he says, is this how Nikki died? And I don't know if he meant as in Rio took him, or if as in Rio offered her Agatha a choice, like either her or Nikki, and she chose to sacrifice Nikki instead of herself. So I'm not sure exactly what he meant by that, but I think it's somewhere along those lines. Yeah, so after that, Agatha, like, has a kind of a change of heart. She feels bad, and she, like, literally embraces death, and dies. And then, like, Rio makes her a flower grave, which is what's on the screen behind me. Yeah. And so that's seemingly the end of Agatha. And then we see Billy going back to his house, William's house, and his parents say, "Oh my gosh, where have you been? We've been frantic. You've been missing for 24 hours. And it feels, of course, like way longer than 24 hours. Yeah, and he looks around his room and thinks, all this stuff seems so familiar. Like, he goes and he sees, the Wizard of Oz figures, including the Wicked Witch. There's an Ouija board, the leaves, just the shoes on the shelf, like bronze shoes, and just all this stuff. And he just has this, like, moment of, like, holy cow, what does this mean? Which, of course, we don't really find out what that means until the next episode. But, I mean, the next episode, yeah, it just, it seemed long in terms of, the actual episode, but it really, I guess it wasn't that long, but it seemed long, but they could have condensed it into, a shorter episode. So basically, we see Agatha at the beginning. She's about to give birth. But you also see Rio appear, and the year is 1750. And Agatha's like, no. And Rio's like, I'm sorry, my love. It's time. Like, she's there to take the baby. So I feel like the baby was supposed to be born, like, stillborn. And Agatha just pleads with her, no. And so Rio's like, okay, the only thing I can give you is time. Basically, I'm going to give you a little bit longer, but I'll be back. And Agatha, at one point in the show, says, yeah, you gave me special treatment, but it wasn't even special treatment. All you did was take from me. But really, she did get special treatment because, she and Rio were lovers. Like, I don't even know, like, they don't go into when they met or how they met or anything like that. But Jen joked that it was, they met over all the bodies, which makes sense because Agatha killed her entire coven, like, almost a century before that, and she probably continued to kill witches to gain their power. So I'm betting she would have come in contact with Rio with death. So I forgot about that Jen made that joke. So that's probably, how they met. Anyway, they don't go into, like, details or anything about it. So basically, Agatha gets more time, with Nicholas, and she says, that she made him from scratch, which, she meant, she didn't conjure him or there was no spell, but I still don't get the whole from scratch comment. I guess I'll have to research that and see, like, what the comic books say, if they said something about that, because, like, I don't really remember that, to be honest. So, she is in the forest with the baby. She runs across this group of women who, they're forest witches, and they are concerned about Agatha, and they're like, oh, do you need, help? And she's like, my baby and I haven't eaten in days. And they have, like, protection stones all around their encampment. And so they invite Agatha in. They, like, say something, I think, in Latin to, break, to put the, sorry, I'm having a brain fart, to put the barrier down to let Agatha in. So she steps in and kills them all, takes their powers. Which I get, like, how I guess she, like, attacks them physically and they feel like they have to defend themselves with their powers. Or well, no, I guess she did have powers at that point. And she just, because we just heard them, like, crying out and stuff. We didn't actually see it happen. So, yeah, she has powers at this point. So she, you know, gets them to attack her. And then, of course, steals their powers. And that's how they die. So, and then Nicholas, at some point, when he's a little bit older, asked her, why do you always kill witches? And she says, because in order to survive, before they kill us. Which, I mean, of course, her coven tried to kill her, and then she killed her entire coven because of the nature of her power. And so that alone makes her dangerous and makes her, a menace in other witches' eyes. And the fact that she kept doing it, that doesn't help at all. I mean, Agatha was just, like, mean in this show. Like, I thought there would be some kind of redeeming quality about her, but not really. No, I didn't really see any. Especially, like, in the last episode, she was so mean to, like, Billy. Just so mean. Anyway, so she continues on with that life with Nicholas, killing witches, moving from place to place, scraping by. Yeah, and I mean, one day they're pulling a con because she and Nicholas made up this song about the Witch's Road, and he doesn't want to do it anymore, so he kind of runs away, and he's like, we can kill them tomorrow. Like, I don't feel like doing it today. And pretty much that night is when Rio comes for him. So, I guess my question is, how old do you think he is? I feel like he's maybe 10. Like, I don't think he's older than 10. Maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So really, instead of getting no time with him at all, she got, almost 10 years with him. So Rio was definitely giving her special treatment. Anyway, so apparently a whole thing comes out where the Witch's Road is not real. It's not a thing. It's just this song that they made up, kind of to entertain themselves, on their journeys. And other witches have heard the song and heard the rumors of it, and they think it's real. And so Agatha, like, after he died, which was like 1760, somewhere in there, she starts this, this is the first time she pulls this scam. Because the witch asks her, do you know how to get to the road? And she says, oh yeah, but we need a coven. So she helps this girl build the coven so that she could steal all their powers. Because when the door doesn't appear after they do the song, the enchantment, she calls all of them, like fake witches and all kinds of nasty names, and basically to provoke them into attacking her so that she can, kill them and get their powers. And she does this, it looks like in the 1800s, 1920s, 10s, somewhere in there, 1980s, present day. So she's done this at least 5 times, probably more than that. And then what Billy realizes is that he actually conjured the road. Like, he made the road. And he feels so bad. He feels so remorseful because that means he is the one that killed Mrs. Hart and Lilia and Alice. And he's so just kind of distraught. And Agatha, who is now a ghost, she says, well, actually you saved one life because Jen survived, because I was going to kill them all day one in my basement. So, because, she pulls that scheme where she gathers witches to, get powers, and she had no powers, so she saw this as an easy way, since Teen, as he was known then, was asking about the road, and other witches were curious and would join up. She saw this as a way to gain her powers back. So really, she's like, really, you saved one life. And so now, Billy still is like just really upset with Agatha. Not that I blame him. And he takes her locket and tries to banish her. And she, being a ghost, she can't really, like, physically touch things. But she tries with all her might and knocks the locket out of Billy's hand, because she's like, I can't face him, meaning Nicholas. Like, after all the things she's done, she just like, I can't face him. I can't do it. And she gets, really emotional and really upset. And that's like the first time we kind of see her be that way, honestly. And then they decide to go find Tommy together, which that actually does happen in the comic books, where she's actually a ghost and she mentors other people. Like, as a ghost, she mentored Scarlet Witch at a time. So just interesting. Like I said, I was so wrong. I thought that none of them were actually dead, that it would be this whole big build up against the Salem 7, and no. Those who were dead stayed dead. Like, Billy did a little memorial to them on the basement floor. And yeah, they stayed dead. So I feel like this means we're going to get another season that's going to focus on their search for Tommy, and then, reuniting them, and then leading into maybe Young Avengers. That's where I feel like this is going. Anyway, so yeah, I was so wrong with pretty much all of this, but I guess, that's okay. I just did not expect them to go this way. So, but I really enjoyed the series, and I'm actually like interested to watch, this series with Billy and Ghost Agatha. So, I mean, there's been no announcement about it yet, so I guess we'll have to see, like, how long that'll take, like, how long it'll take to film it, develop it, etc. So, but they announced a bunch of new Marvel projects, so there's going to be a lot coming up, a lot to talk about. So, I hope you'll join me in the future for all of that. Until next time, bye.